What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Clark Tank. Let's start talking about Tooth and Tail. Now, the reason I wanted to play this 2 weeks ago, obviously, is because it looks amazing, did well in the charts. You know, we usually check out whatever game in the last few weeks was doing well at the top of the charts, and it was certainly one. But also, I know the guys who made it, and they're awesome dudes, friends of mine. But yeah, the reason why Tooth and Tail is especially interesting, I think, is that it's in the RTS genre. Kind of. They were trying to solve a lot of the problems that RTSs have, and RTSs lately seem to have been on the decline on Steam. There haven't been too many of them, and the ones that there have been haven't done extremely well. So it's an interesting gamble to try and make an RTS, because it's kind of counter to what we talk about here on the Clark Tank, where, you know, my strategy for making games is to analyze the trends, see what genres are doing well, and then, you know, think about genres that I'm interested in, which ones of them overlap with the ones that are doing well, and then, you know, do I have any game design ideas that, you know, exist in those genres that I'm interested in and are doing well. So I probably would not have picked RTS, even though I do like RTS games quite a lot, but the trend was negative. But, you know, perhaps the trend was negative because of something wrong with the RTS genre, and maybe that's why Tooth and Tail has done so well, is because they, you know, they fixed some of those issues. So yeah, let's watch the trailer for Tooth and Tail, see if we can figure anything out from that. Now they kind of did the movies. I don't know if you've noticed lately that movie trailers do like a little mini trailer thing at the very start of their trailer, which is. It's pretty cool. Once you know that they do it, though, it's kind of distracting, because you know, like, oh, there's the mini trailer. But I understand why they do it. I think they do it so that they show you things that, you know, pique your curiosity and get you excited and stuff right away. And then, especially with movie trailers, if it's you know, a narrative, if it's not an action-y show, you know, some of the stuff that they're going to show in the trailer may, you know, not be as exciting or as grabby. So they try to make you, you know, show the most exciting stuff really quick at the start to get you curious, and then later on, then that gives them a bit more leeway. It, you know, probably guarantees that you'll stay around for a little bit longer, give them a bit more benefit of the doubt, and I think that's what they were doing here with this trailer. Let me see. Yeah, like they just show a bunch of actiony stuff right away, and then I think this trailer is a bit narrative.
Who decides the fate of animals?
See,
The long coats? The common folk? The KSR? Or the civil?
the art is so good.
Whoever triumphs will go hungry no more.
I love this audio track with the vocals. Oh man, it's so good. Real-time strategy distilled is a good tagline as well. So yeah, I think that they would probably have had trouble if they'd just gone straight into that narrative stuff, you know, where the voiceover is happening and they're showing things burning and whatnot. Especially RTS fans just watching that, they probably would have been like, oh, what even is this? They might have clicked away, right? But because they show, you know, 5 seconds or however long it was at the beginning of action, that helps hook you. I still feel like the narrative bits were probably a little too long. This trailer ended up being 134, but yeah, once that vocal track kicks in and you get back to the action, really hits me pretty hard. It felt pretty good. So I think this is a very solid trailer, and yeah, the game has a great name. Exactly like Harbor saying, it invokes the phrase "fighting tooth and nail." So Tooth and Tail is a play on that, but you immediately know that, you know, they're fighting hard and this is going to be a difficult struggle, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's very evocative, and again, real-time strategy distilled, I think, is a pretty, you know, it's good and succinct. Like I said, I played it a little bit before. If you're not aware, the way that Tooth and Tail works is you're using a controller. So they had to solve the problems of, you know, if you're playing StarCraft, you're hitting all these hotkeys and stuff, and you're moving to this part of the map and this part of the map, and just it's pretty frantic when you watch like a high-level StarCraft player do their thing. But with a controller, you can't be that precise. You don't have that many keys for all the hotkeys and stuff, so it needs to be designed differently. I think if that is indeed the trend, and I've thought that that has, you know, been the trend for a while, that could be part of the reason why Tooth and Tail did so well, is because, you know, it also sort of casualizes the RTS. You cannot multitask too much with it because you're always controlling, you know, this this leader character. Now there are still things going on away from where you are, but you can't, you know, your APM, if it's like 300, I don't think that there's, you know, 300 things that you could do per minute in Tooth and Tail. So yeah, congrats to them, to Andy and everybody else at Pocket Watch. It was awesome to see it hanging around the top of the charts after launch. Call Guinness, you're asking, did it do well? Well, it was near the top of the charts for quite a while. Let's see on Steam Spy. So it's $20, and it has about, so yeah, the players is actually higher. No, it's not quite higher, but it's close to the owners. So it's made like 700K ish in less than a month. So, you know, that's not a super giant hit or anything, but it's going to go on to make many millions of dollars. They didn't even do a launch discount, right? So as they discount it, it's going to, you know, bring in more and more sales. But yeah, let's talk about Cuphead, the freaking juggernaut that it is. Let's watch this trailer. Yeah, obviously the visuals, you know, not only is it a style that no one has used to make games, at least not that I'm aware of. It's a unique style, but done extremely well. And the hook and like the, you know, the marketing bullet point of it's all hand-drawn, you know, that's going to get people's attention, and it makes them value the game immediately more than, you know, your regular kind of game where they don't think about how long did it take you to make these graphics. But with this one, you know, they know, and they're thinking about, you know, all the work that went into it. But yeah, I saw a lot of people on Twitter talking about how, you know, let's not glorify that whole, you know, mortgaging your house thing, because, you know, a lot of people might mortgage their house and then fail, right? What are the odds that you're going to make, you know, a giant hit like Cuphead? You certainly shouldn't bank on it. So Lars, you're saying you find the opening story of Cuphead, betting your soul on the roll of dice, is like a frame story for the game's development. Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. I wonder if they did that on purpose. Yeah, mortgaging your house, I guess with this game, it was a good bet, but it's, again, I said off the top of the show that I was a bit surprised by how well it's doing. Obviously, I knew that it was going to get a lot of attention because of the visuals. They're so good, and the audio and stuff is so good, but it is in a declining genre again. You know, platform shooter, almost kind of bullet hellish game. They don't really do well on Steam these days. However, you know, most of the bullet hellish games don't have, you know, the unique selling points that Cuphead does have. It had such huge buzz already that you don't think it mattered, Harbor? Well, let's take a look at Cuphead's like trailers on Steam and see how many views, not on Steam, on YouTube, and see how many views it had. Like, this is kind of hand wavy sort of way of estimating buzz. So it was 2 years ago. So first of all, they announced quite a long time ago, which is a thing that I think is probably wise. It lets people get excited about it well in advance, right? Seems to have worked for them. 2 million views? What? Wow. Actually, another thing I wanted to see was, I remember when Cuphead came out, that a ton of people were streaming it. Let's see just how many. So it has sold, wow, 300,000 units. So yeah, it's well over $6 million since the 29th. Holy smokes. So it looks like they were giving out keys before the actual launch date on the 29th. Now let's see YouTube. Wow, 22 million views. And it's like, it's still going up. Let's see Twitch. Okay, so Twitch is on the decline. it kind of makes sense. So Twitch is a bit more like bursty. People will come and they'll stream a thing for a day or whatever, beat it or decide to stop playing it, and that's that. Whereas YouTubers put out like series where they'll play, you know, a 1 hour chunks or something like that, and spread it out over time. So it makes sense that YouTube is still building. But yeah, that's a good sign for its longevity as well, right? It's not going to go away anytime soon if it's still getting tens of millions of YouTube views a day. So yeah, looking forward to playing that. We'll check that out in just a minute, but let's also talk about Heat Signature, which I said off the top of the show was interesting, partly because it's Tom Francis's second game. So Suspicious Developments is the name of his company, I suppose. So the first game was Gunpoint, and interestingly, they actually show Gunpoint in their trailer, which is
man through a plate glass window.
unique
We looked up
unique
at the
thing.
stars and wondered, what if we could do that, but in space? Well, then that man would be in space, and someone would have to make all that space. We're doing the one literally labeled mistake.
It's just it's humorous and like
Ship
a
has no
pretty
weapons,
succinct
and is so
description
small, the bigger ships hardly
of what you
notice it,
do.
which is good.
It's
But
easily
its main
understandable.
feature is this: it can break into them. Once you're in, you'll need to get past the crew, and then throw your wrench at this guy, and dodge that bullet while you're gunning.
It's also slightly Hotline Miami-ish, but you
Everyone
know,
should have heard that. Soon
more tactical.
You're finding gadgets like the Subverter. It's a game from the developers of Gunpoint, where you go inside spaceships, make terrible mistakes, and think of clever ways out of them. It's out now on Steam.
yeah, and that's a good tagline. I feel like this game has really good player fantasy. It makes you, you know, it's easy to imagine yourself doing these sorts of things if you're a sci-fi fan or whatever, right? Especially if you've played Gunpoint or other similar games or Hotline Miami or something like that. Right away, I think you kind of understand what you're going to be getting yourself into. All right, last thing before we actually get to our homework, we're talking about a lot of stuff today, is a while ago, Valve made a change to the user reviews. Obviously, they're trying to address the issue of review bombs, which is great that they're paying attention to that. But, you know, it's a pretty difficult problem to solve, and they got some flack from people for what they did, which was they added graphs so that you can see if there's a sudden negative spike, and then you could investigate and see like, oh, these people are mad about X, Y, or Z. Yeah, I don't really care about that, so maybe I will buy this game and I'll just ignore those reviews. So I think the critique is that like that's a lot of work for people to do. A lot of people are probably not even going to do that. But the fact is that you could if you wanted to. It is a tool that, you know, helps a bit, but I agree that it doesn't solve the problem. But I think solving the problem is extremely difficult, and if people have ideas for how to solve the problem in a way that satisfies, you know, players and makes devs happy, and also, you know, doesn't ruin things on Steam, like doesn't make Steam sell fewer games, like if you can satisfy all three of those stakeholders, then that would be amazing. And I'm sure if you pipe up, Valve would love to hear your solution. All right, well, that was enough. That was a lot of preamble stuff. We should get to the actual top 50 and do our homework here. So, unsurprisingly, Battlegrounds still at #1 and just like perfectly flat. So not even the juggernaut Cuphead could dethrone it. But still, seeing an indie game just park at #2 like this is extremely impressive. PUBG is fighting Fortnite free to play now. Yeah, that's true. So I wonder if eventually we might see, you know, some cracks and they are not at #1 constantly. We will find out. But yeah, it's I wouldn't be surprised if eventually they go free to play as well. All right, so Cuphead, CS:GO. So Cuphead is above CS:GO, which is usually, you know, in the #2-ish spot. Dota's a little higher right now. It's dipping. Dying Light. It's starting to dip. I wonder if it just finished being on sale. Now, Divinity Original Sin, a lot of people have been talking about this. I think a lot of people have been playing it on Twitch and stuff like that. We talked about it when it early accessed, but interesting to see that even after, you know, a reasonably strong early access, that now it's just parked in the charts and doing extremely well. So not too many games that are like AAA-ish do that, you know, follow that sort of route. So it means that it can work for really high quality, higher budget games as well. So Total War Warhammer, is it the 5th today? Or no, it's the 6th. So it came out yesterday. A little surprising, Total War Warhammer 2. A little surprising that it's not higher, actually. Getting beat out by Cuphead, which came out, you know, quite a bit before. And Total War Warhammer 2 was in the charts for quite a while with pre-orders, so I wonder if a lot of those pre-orders sort of sapped its launch momentum. But we'll see next Clark Tank if it's still in the charts. Middle-earth Shadow of War coming out in a few days. Okay, Rocket League is usually around somewhere a little higher than usual. Warframe just doing so well these days. What the heck is this? A hat in time. Charming for sure. But yeah, just a bit surprised that a game like this type of game, doesn't seem to do that well on Steam. But it could be just because it had a big Kickstarter back in the day. Reminds you of the original Xbox platformers. Yeah, that's a good point, Carl Guinness. Huh. And very positive. Yeah, maybe the gameplay is great. It's easiest for us when there are no complicating factors such as Kickstarters and things like that, or like building up audiences over long periods of time, because it's hard to know, like, does that mean that this type of game is viable now? I feel like it's not super viable, but yeah. Oh man, yeah, look at these reviews. NBA 2K18. Battle Chasers Night War. She's just standing there looking cool. Why is this dude doing everything? Well, there, the big thing got to do something. JRPG style, uses Final Fantasy X-like turn rotation system. Huh, okay. I don't know how you make turn-based RPG combat look cool anymore. Yeah, that just seemed to me like it just felt like straight up JRPG. Alright, so that game is doing quite well in the charts too. It came out a couple days ago. So probably will go on to make millions of bucks as well. So NBA 2K18, it's hilarious that it came out so long ago, and well, not so long ago, like a month, and has such horrible reviews, and yet still making tons of money. Darkest Dungeon looks like it must have been on sale and it's dropping off now. Rainbow Six Siege is usually around somewhere. Call of Duty World War II coming out in November. GTA 5, it's usually around somewhere. Football Manager, so this is the new one coming out in November. Black Desert Online is kind of perennial now too. King of the Kill as well. Now Stick Fight, the game, I saw this yeah, a while ago when it came out, but I didn't watch the trailer. I wanted to watch it with you guys. Let's watch it together. Okay, so is this... Obviously this is multiplayer. Is it online multiplayer? So this might be kind of somewhat similar to Gang Beasts in that it's like just silly physicsy situations. Wow, it's $5. That's an interesting move. You know, obviously the visuals do make it, you know, seem like a simple-ish sort of game, and so $5 makes you more likely to take the plunge, and also to convince your friends to come play it with you. It's only $5. So it's like 60,000 units at $5, so it's already 300K-ish in a week. So it's going to go on to make millions of bucks. So yeah, YouTube, let's see. So yeah, millions of views. Twitch, not as much on Twitch. Yeah, well, it's still pretty decent. Obviously, some big YouTubers or Twitch streamers have played it there. Square Brawl, Air Brawl. Oh, they made Totally Accurate Battle Simulator? Well, the publisher did anyway. Alright, so yeah, this is... We've talked a lot about this on the Clark Tank, of just like the silly, hilarious situation, physicsy sorts of games. They are an extremely viable genre right now, and it doesn't seem like the type of genre that gets filled up. Like, there's an appetite for more of these types of games. So Paladins is still around. Shadowverse, so this is like the sort of a Hearthstone of Steam. It's higher right now than it usually is. I wonder why, or if they had some kind of event or something. The Hunter Call of the Wild, it's been doing pretty darn well. Now, was it on sale? It looks like it probably was on sale, but it pops up every now and then. So this is the new South Park. So the old South Park game did extremely well, so not surprising to see this one in the charts already. There was a new expansion on Shadowverse. Oh, okay, that makes sense. War Thunder, it's usually around. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, so it's just up here because it's on sale. Path of Exile is, lately it's been around. It's kind of climbing over the last day. I wonder why. More Call of Duty stuff on sale. TF2 is usually around somewhere. Mashinki, what are you? And again, strategy games, sim games, viable right now. Industrial games like Industries of Titan, viable. Hey, Sim Airport's up here. Oh, I wonder if they did this to like combat that other Sim Airport game coming out, if they knew that it was happening. Road Redemption. Wasn't this game out a long time ago? I remember seeing it at shows and stuff. Maybe it's just been coming for a while. It's just like a... Or maybe it was in early access. Anyway. Yeah, this seems like, you know, if you're into motorcycling and violence, I'm not surprised that this game is doing reasonably well on the charts. Same Airport's here because it's on sale. Starpoint Gemini Warlords, so it's here because it's on sale. Arc is usually around. Gungeon, I'm a bit surprised it's not a bit higher when it's on 50% off, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, all the Call of Duty stuff is on sale, 50% off. Elder Scrolls Online Plus membership, all the Elder Scrolls stuff has been in the charts lately. War for the Overworld, 70% off, that's why it's here. Darkest Dungeon, yeah, so this is their DLC, so there must have been a sale or something going on. More Elder Scrolls stuff, XCOM DLC. This is their relatively recent DLC. Final Fantasy 14, yeah, this has been in the charts lately too. Now, Oxygen not included, these are my by my pals over at Clay. And yeah, they recently did this like outbreak update where you can, there's sickness and stuff like that, and I think that that has had an impact. Although, this is an interesting shape. I don't think that it was on sale. It's not a very sale-like shape, but anyway, Raw Data is one of the. This is that VR game, right? What is it going to be leaving early access? Yeah, so it must be leaving early access, or left it 2 days ago and on sale. Battlefront probably was on sales. Now Stardew, I wonder if it's getting a bump because all the people talking about Stardew on Switch. Could be. Call of Duty's on sale again. Assassin's Creed Origins, so this is the pre-order for it coming out later in this month. Danganronpa 3, so this came out a couple weeks ago, still in the charts, that's great. This is by our Japanese publisher, Spike Chunsoft. Love those guys, they're very good to work with. Rust is perennial. Final Fantasy 14, we already saw a different skew of that. Project Cars, Pro Evolution Soccer, also just some of these things just barely popping up. So there's Airport CEO, which we talked about. Factorio is perennial, sometimes pops up. Beholder is back in the charts. It must have been some sale or event. And Gary's Mod. We've been seeing it a lot lately. Stories Untold. I don't even know what this is, but it's obviously playing on the font of this is very Stranger Things, that's what it's called. Ogre, what is this? Came out yesterday.
Tanks.
Yeah, I remember the original Ogre game. Yeah, they have a build an existing audience to sell to there. Guild 3, came out recently. It's just slowly declining. Black Ops is perennial. LX, this is coming out on the 17th. What is LX? How is this guy walking at full speed when everybody else is slow-mo? LX. Alright. Interesting. THQ Nordic, they've been busy lately. Stronghold 2 Steam Edition, I believe we watched that before. We talked about the Soon trademark, which is pretty funny. Franchise Hockey Manager 4. I'm surprised there's that much appetite for hockey stuff. The Evil Within coming soon, and The Forest is also kind of perennial. Alright.
Fraught with dread, and if they proceed but don't
this is pretty cool. So much work and talent to make just this. Oh, it's like an empty cup. Already you can tell just like so much thought and effort went into everything about this game. Ugh. Why's it gotta be so charming?
A great slam and then some. You're up.
has a ton of bosses and very few normal levels, I see. Hey, guy, go away. Equip your smoke dash in charm slot. Oh. Ah, thank you. That'll help. Alright, let's do this.
Here's a real high-class bout. Now go!
Uh-oh, what's he doing? Ow! Oh, that's neat. Does different thing depending on... Ah! That guy blowing wind. No! No! Ah! Ah! It got faster! Ah! Haha! This one's hard. Ah! That one's the hardest. Frick! Alright, we're getting there. Oh, I got too close to it. Frick! Yes! And it's hard, which I love, but since it's hard in short bursts, you don't feel like disappointed that you have to go back and start again because you only lost a few minutes. The difficulty is fine because as long as you understand what you did wrong and know how to succeed, it's not as frustrating. Yeah, exactly. I feel like it would have been nice if when we were shooting that slot machine thing, it wasn't damaging it and we couldn't tell. If they could fix that with, you know, having a bigger flash, a more noticeable flash when you are doing damage, and then when you're not doing damage, have like plink sounds or like little, you know, reflections it coming off so you can tell, oh, this is different. You know, there needs to be a greater distinction between when you're doing damage and when you're not, both with audio and visuals. You know, I think that would make it better and easier for non-gamers to get into. So yeah, there are still things that could be improved for sure. I was skeptical that maybe the game design would be old schoolish, but it's not. It's actually quite modern and learns from things like Meat Boy and other games that have, you know, made it so that difficult games are acceptable and really enjoyable these days. So, all right, I think that is going to wrap it up. I will see you guys again in like 3 or 4 weeks. But for now, I think this Clark Tank is over. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.